€5 challenge. How much can I save in a month? You clicked on this. You actively chose to watch this. The question is why? Is it because you're broke, truly and utterly scraping by? Is it because you're perpetually one single, solitary, unexpected bill away from a full-blown, heart-pounding panic attack? Or maybe it's because you get to the end of the month, look at the pathetic numbers staring back at you from your bank account, and feel that familiar, sinking feeling in your gut as you wonder where it all went. Where did all that effort, all those hours at a job you probably tolerated best, actually go? Yeah, I thought so. That silence, that nod you just gave, that's the truth you've been avoiding. You've likely been down this rabbit hole before. You've sat through countless money-saving videos, nodding along as some polished guru with perfect teeth tells you to make a budget, a task you start with enthusiasm and abandon by day 3. They've chirped at you to cut back on lattes, as if that one single beverage is the sole architect of your financial ruin. They've advised you to invest in a diversified portfolio, using language so alien and intimidating that you just switch off. And after all that advice, all that passive consumption of self-help, what have you tangibly done? Let's be brutally honest with each other. You've done nothing. Absolutely, unequivocally nothing. The needle hasn't moved. Your habits are identical. Your excuses are just a little more refined. You're still stuck in the exact same miserable financial quicksand you were in last year, and the year before that, and probably the year before that too. You become a connoisseur of excuses, a master of self-deception. I don't earn enough. You whine, while simultaneously ordering another takeaway because you're too tired to cook. It's just too hard, you complain, as if anything worthwhile in life is supposed to be easy. And the most popular, the all-time classic, I'll start next month. Next month has become your personal utopia, a magical, mythical land where unicorns poop rainbows. Your motivation is endless, and all your problems miraculously solve themselves without any effort on your part. It doesn't exist. It's a fantasy you use to sedate your ambition. I am not here to coddle you. I am not your friend in this. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's okay and that you're doing your best. It's not okay. Your financial indiscipline, your complete lack of control, is a disease. It's a cancer on your potential, and it is slowly, methodically killing your dreams. It's stealing the future you tell yourself you want. It's robbing you of your freedom, making you a slave to your next paycheck, to your boss, to your landlord. It is the invisible cage that keeps you trapped in a life you don't even particularly like. A life that feels like a poorly fitting suit you're forced to wear every single day. So, here's the unvarnished deal. I'm going to undertake the €5 challenge for 1 month. 30 days. The rule is painfully simple. Every single time a €5 note comes into my possession, through any means, it gets saved. It doesn't get spent. There are no exceptions. There are no just this one's clauses. There are no excuses. And I'm going to document every single agonizing, frustrating, inconvenient, and hopefully enlightening day of this journey. You're going to be my unwilling accountability partner. You're going to watch. You're going to see what it really takes to instill a single drop of discipline into a life of chaos. And maybe, just maybe, a sliver of this brutal honesty will finally pierce through that thick, well-defended skull of yours and spark a genuine change. This isn't really about the money. You see, the final amount is secondary. This is a test of character. It's about proving to yourself, that one person you can't escape, that you can actually do something you say you're going to do. It's about reclaiming a tiny piece of control in a world that feels increasingly out of control. It's a rebellion against your own weakness. So, are you ready to finally face the uncomfortable truth? Or are you going to click away? Retreat to the warm, comfortable embrace of your financial denial and continue to wonder why your life isn't changing? The choice, as always, is yours. But my choice is made. I'm starting now. Day 1, the grand beginning, the day of bold declarations and, so often, of promises that evaporate by sunrise. I've told myself I'm going to get serious about money 100 times before, maybe more. The only difference this time, I'm dragging you along for the ride. Misery, as they say, loves company. The first test materialized faster than I expected. I was at a small, local bakery, the kind with the intoxicating smell of fresh bread that usually short-circuits my financial resolve. In my hand, a crisp €20 note. I only wanted coffee, just a simple coffee. And so it began, the first trial by fire. I knew what the change would be even before the barista rang it up. I could feel in my bones. It was inevitable. A €10 note, a €5 note, and some assorted coins. That faded €5 note felt like the first domino in a long, complex chain, teetering on the edge. The barista handed back the change, her gesture casual, completely unaware of the internal drama unfolding. My hand closed around the notes and coins, the metal cool against my palm, the paper stiff. There was the first €5, the first sacrifice. My immediate gut reaction was primal. Shove into the depths of my wallet and pretend this whole challenge wasn't happening, to whisper that familiar lie to myself. It's just one. It won't make a difference. Start properly tomorrow. But that's the lie, isn't it? That's the seductive, poisonous whisper you've been listening to for years. It's the same voice that says, just one more overpriced beer, just one more impulse buy on Amazon, just one more round of drinks you can't afford. And all of those seemingly insignificant just ones accumulate, they compound, until they amount to a big, fat, gaping zero in your savings account and a mountain of debt on the other side. So, back in my room, I took out a simple, clear glass jar. No fancy piggy bank. I wanted to see the progress, or the lack thereof. With a thick permanent marker, I scrawled the €5 prison on the side in aggressive, blocky letters. This was its new home, not my wallet, where it could be easily spent. Now my pocket, where it could be accidentally used. This glass prison was its final destination. I dramatically dropped the first €5 note into the jar. The sound of the paper and its slight weight clinking against the bottom was surprisingly loud, an amplified declaration of intent. One down, a whole month of this to go. This was, without a doubt, going to be hell. For days have now passed. The jar contains 3 €5 notes. €15, a pittance, a laughable amount. I can practically hear your derision through the screen. That's nothing. I spend that on a sad desk lunch without a second thought. And that, right there, is the core of your problem. You're so disconnected from the reality of money that you have no concept of its value. You see it as an abstract tool for immediate gratification, something to be spent as quickly as possible, not as a seed to be planted and grown. In these 4 short days, I've had to actively say no at least 7 times. No to a spontaneous pint with a mate who called me up after work. No to a decadent slice of cheesecake that seemed to be singing a siren song from a cafe window. No to buying a glossy magazine at the checkout, a magazine I know I'd flick through once and then use as a coaster. And you know what? It sucks. It's profoundly inconvenient. It's irritating. It goes against every impulsive fiber of my being. But you know what sucks infinitely more? That cold, creeping dread that fills your stomach when your car makes a funny noise and, you just know you have no way to pay for the inevitable repair. That suffocating feeling of being a helpless passenger in the vehicle of your own life, completely at the mercy of your next paycheck, praying it stretches far enough. This isn't about the €15 in this jar. This is about building a muscle that has atrophied from lack of use. The no muscle, the I'm in control of my own damn decisions muscle. And right now, if you're being honest, your muscle is a flabby, pathetic, useless excuse for a bicep. It's day 9, and the jar now holds 7 €5 notes. €35. I'm filming this on my phone, whispering like a spy as I navigate the belly of the beast, the supermarket. This place is a carefully engineered psychological war zone, designed with the sole purpose of separating you from your money. Every special offer, every end-of-aisle display, every buy one get one free sticker is a weapon aimed squarely at your lack of discipline. And today, I made a rookie mistake. I have a €50 note. I know. I should have brought smaller change. I should have been prepared, but I was in a rush. An excuse. See how easily they slip out. How natural they feel. My shopping list is Spartan. Bread, milk, eggs, pasta. The absolute essentials. But my God, the temptation is everywhere. The camera pans over a fortress-like display of imported chocolates, then to a glowing aisle of expensive craft beers with clever labels. This is where the battle is won or lost. And these brightly lit, deceptively cheerful aisles. And for years, you've been surrendering without a fight. I make it to the checkout, my resolve feeling thin. The total comes to €12. I hand over the €50 note, my heart thumping a little faster. The cashier, with practiced indifference, starts counting out the change. I can see it, that beautiful, cursed piece of paper. The cashier slides the change across the counter, a €20 note, a €10 note, a crisp €5 note, and a handful of coins. My hand hovers over it, a moment of pure, unadulterated hesitation. Back in my room, I hold the note up to the camera, my expression one of pure exasperation. And just like that, another inmate for the prison. The clink of the note dropping into the jar is becoming a familiar sound, a rhythm of forced savings. Do you see what's happening here? This isn't just about stashing cash. It's about being forced into a state of mindfulness. It's a mandatory confrontation with your own spending habits in real time. Every time a €5 note comes my way, it's a jolt to the system, an external trigger that asks, hey, you there on autopilot, are you sure you need that? Is this purchase truly worth it? You live your financial life on autopilot. You tap your card, you hand over your cash, your eyes are glazed over. You don't even think about it. This challenge, it yanks you out of that trance. It forces you to think. We've reached day 15, the halfway point. The jar is now noticeably fuller, no longer looking sparse and pathetic. I'm sitting at my table, the jar placed in front of me like a trophy. I feel different today. The raw anger and irritation of the first week has subsided, replaced by something quieter, more thoughtful. 15 days. Halfway through this self-inflicted financial boot camp. Let's see what the damage is. I carefully tip the entire contents of the jar onto the table. A satisfying cascade of green notes. I begin to count. 5, 10, 15, 20. The pile grows 60, 65, 70. €70 in 15 days by doing nothing more than putting one specific banknote into a jar. Again, I can hear the cynic in you, that voice that's always trying to protect your bad habits. €70? Big deal. I can't retire on that. You are fundamentally, catastrophically missing a point. You are so utterly obsessed with the get-rich-quick fantasy, the lottery win, the magical stock pick, that you are completely blind to the quiet earth-shattering power of small, consistent, boring actions. This €70 isn't just €70. It's €70 that I would have, without a shadow of a doubt, pissed away on absolute nonsense. A few coffees I didn't truly enjoy, a couple of takeaway lunches eaten sadly at my desk, a new t-shirt I didn't need that would now be languishing at the bottom of a drawer. This €70 is proof. It is tangible, physical evidence that you are capable of saving money. It's the truth, sitting on my table, telling me that it's not some impossible task reserved for the wealthy and the privileged. But here is the real mindset shift, the small tectonic plate that has begun to move in my brain, the thing that you so desperately need to understand. It's not about what I've saved. It's about what I've been forced not to spend. This challenge has inadvertently rewired my daily behavior. It has forced me to be more resourceful, to actually use the coffee machine I bought 2 years ago, to cook my own meals, even when I'm tired, to look up free things to do in my city instead of defaulting to the pub. I am not just saving money. I am fundamentally changing my relationship with it. I am changing my behavior. And that, my friend, is where the real, life-altering magic happens. I won't lie. It's still a pain in the ass. It's still inconvenient. But for the first time in a very long time, I feel a sense of agency. I feel in control. The next 2 weeks blur into a montage of quiet discipline. We see quick, unglamorous shots of my new reality. I'm at a cafe with friends, getting my change from a round of drinks, and without hesitation, I slip the €5 note into a separate pocket. Its fate already sealed. Sealed. There's a scene of me walking down the street at night, pausing to look at a pair of trainers in a brightly lit shop window, an item I would have previously bought without a second thought. I stare for a long moment, then just shake my head and walk away. There are shots of me in my kitchen, clumsily but determinedly cooking a simple meal, the alternative of an expensive takeaway app hovering in the background of my mind. And through it all, we see the jar, a constant presence, getting fuller and fuller, a visual representation of delayed gratification. It is now day 30, the final day. The jar is overflowing. It's heavy. It's real. I look different. The tension in my shoulders is gone. My gaze is calmer, more focused. It's over. I'm not going to do a big, dramatic reveal of the final number just yet, because the number itself, while gratifying, is not the most important part of this story. What's truly important is what happened up here. For 30 days, I was forced to be a conscious consumer. Every single financial decision, no matter how trivial, was put under a microscope. I was forced to justify every euro. And in that intense scrutiny, I found a profound realization. I realized how much of my spending was utterly mindless. How much of it was driven not by need, or even by genuine want, but by boredom, by stress, by a deeply ingrained desire for the fleeting hit of instant gratification. I was using money as a crutch, a cheap anesthetic. Feeling sad? Buy something. Feeling stressed? Order pizza. This challenge, in its own simple, brutal fashion, removed that crutch. It forced me to actually feel those things, to sit with the discomfort, and to find other, healthier ways to cope. And that is a lesson worth more than any amount of money I could possibly have saved. Now, for the moment you've been waiting for. The big reveal. The number that's supposed to make you feel either a surge of inspiration or a pang of your own inadequacy. I take a deep breath and slowly, methodically, I empty the entire contents of the prison onto the table. It's a significant pile, a small mountain of green. I begin to count, laying them out in neat, satisfying piles of 10. Every single one of these notes represents a choice, a small moment of discipline, a tiny victory in the long war against my own worst instincts. Each one is a no to something I didn't need, and a yes to a future where I have more options, more security, and less fear. The counting finally finishes. I stand back and just look at the money all laid out. 185 euros. Let that sink in for a moment. 185 euros. In 1 month, from doing nothing more than putting a single banknote in a jar. Let's be very real here. Is 185 euro going to fundamentally change my life overnight? No, of course not. But what if I kept doing this? What if this wasn't a one-off challenge, but the start of a new habit? That's over 2,000 euros in a year. What could you, personally, do with an extra 2,000 euros a year? Could you finally pay off that credit card that looms over you? Could you take a small holiday that isn't financed by debt? Could you build an emergency fund that acts as a genuine buffer between you and disaster, allowing you to finally sleep soundly at night? This was never about the 5 euro challenge. This was a wake-up call. This was a slap of truth, delivered with the back of my hand, because sometimes that's the only way to get someone's attention. You have the power to change your financial situation. It is not about your income. It is not about your circumstances. It is about your discipline. It is about your willingness to be uncomfortable. It's about your ability to say no to the easy, glittery, instant gratification that surrounds us, and to say yes to the long, hard, unglamorous road of financial freedom.so. Here is my final challenge to you. I don't care if it's the 5 euro challenge, or the 1 euro challenge, or the no spender once a week challenge. The name, the method, it's all irrelevant. What I care about is that you do something, that you take one small, concrete, tangible step towards taking back control of your own life. Stop making excuses. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The perfect moment is now, in this uncomfortable silence as this video ends. Your life is a direct and brutal reflection of the choices you make every single day. And right now, you're choosing to be a victim of your own financial incompetence. But you can choose differently. You can choose discipline. You can choose control. You can choose freedom. The choice is, and always has been, yours. So, what are you gonna do about it? What's your excuse now?